A system administrator's main responsibility is to ensure efficient, reliable delivery of IS services. Broad categories of system administration tasks include acquiring new IS resources, maintaining existing IS resources, and designing and implementing an IS security policy. The assignment of tasks varies considerably across organizations. IS resource acquisition and deployment should occur only in the context of a well-defined strategic plan for the organization. IS strategic plans tend to follow, rather than lead, the strategic plans of other organizational units. IS resources can be considered organizational infrastructure. Many IS resources are also capital assets because they're used for multiple years. Strategic issues relevant to information systems include services to be provided, charges for services, infrastructure composition, and infrastructure improvement and maintenance. Providing infrastructure-based services to a wide variety of users requires service standards. However, standardization tends to stifle innovation and produce solutions that are suboptimal for some users. Standardization often causes problems for users who need services at or near the leading edge of technology. Managing IS resources as an infrastructure can result in ignoring opportunities to use IS resources for a competitive advantage. Standards are required when providing infrastructure-based services to a wide variety of users. Potential issues are: it tends to stifle innovation, it may fail to meet the needs of some users, it can be incompatible, and there are problems for users who need services at or near the leading edge of technology. Planning for IS resource acquisition requires a thorough understanding of current and anticipated application needs. The acquisition process includes determining the applications that the hardware and software will support, specifying detailed hardware and software requirements, drafting and circulating a request for proposal or RFP, evaluating RFP responses, and negotiating a purchase and/or support contract. Hardware requirements depend on the hardware and system software resources required by application software. If application software has already been developed, its hardware and system software resource consumption can be measured. Determining resource requirements is more complex when application software hasn't been developed yet. In this case, requirements must be determined by benchmark testing. A well-integrated approach to system security protects an organization's hardware, software, and data resources against accidental loss or damage, malicious tampering, unauthorized access, and accidental disclosure. Authentication and authorization enforced through the OS or security service are the first line of defense. Other defensive measures include password control, auditing, virus protection, regular software updates, and firewalls. Physical security restricts access to prevent theft, tampering, and other unauthorized access. Access controls are based on two processes: authentication, which verifies identity, it's password-based and it's most common; biometric, for example, fingerprint or retinal scan; and authorization, which verifies rights. This is based on security IDs or tickets and has an access control list. Ways to enhance password-based authentication: restrictions on length and composition of valid passwords, requirements that passwords periodically be changed, an analysis of password content to identify passwords that are easily guessed, and an encryption of passwords in files and during transmission over a network. Auditing includes accounting, or the process of examining records to determine if generally accepted accounting principles are applied correctly in preparing financial reports. Hardware and software, creating and managing records of user activities or resource access. And it's a useful tool for examining security policy and analyzing security breaches that have already occurred. Limitations include the size of log files, a reduction in system performance, it's backward-looking, it's a poor tool for prevention, and automated search tools are required to extract useful information. Some common features of antivirus software include that they scan email messages and attachments for known viruses, disables or deletes them. It monitors access to important file system files, and data structures and logs or denies access. It scans removable media and cloud-based storage for known viruses. It periodically scans file system and important data structures for viruses. and it monitors web page accesses and disables malicious software. Hardware installation and operation requires special attention to many aspects of the physical environment, particularly electrical power, heat dissipation, moisture, cable routing, and fire protection. Power fluctuations can cause momentary loss of operation or damage to electrical circuits. Types of fluctuations include momentary power surges, momentary power sags, long-term voltage sags, and a total loss of power. Excessive heat can cause intermittent or total failure of electrical circuits, and you will need to have a means of heat dissipation, such as vents or fans on the computer itself, cooling the room, or an auxiliary cooling of the cabinet. In this chapter, you take a step back from bits, bytes, and instruction to examine hardware and software from a system administrator's point of view. A system administrator's job includes many varied tasks, and describing them in detail could fill an entire book. This chapter concentrates on tasks requiring in-depth knowledge of the topics covered in previous chapters. Disaster recovery involves the periodic data backup and storage of backups at alternate sites. You should have backup and storage of critical software at alternate sites. The process includes installing duplicate or supplementary equipment at alternate sites and making arrangements for leasing existing equipment at alternate sites.